There is a specific kind of pain that comes from silence, not the comfortable silence of two people at ease with each other, the other silence, the deliberate one, the one that arrives after something happened, after something was said, after you asked a question or raised a concern or did something that apparently crossed a line you did not know existed. And now there is nothing. No response to your message, no acknowledgement of your presence, no conversation, just the absence of what was there before, used as a weapon so quietly that sometimes you cannot even decide if it is intentional. This is the silent treatment, and most people who have experienced it describe the same thing. It is not just uncomfortable, it's destabilizing. It makes you question yourself in ways that direct conflict never quite does, because direct conflict gives you something to respond to. The silent treatment gives you nothing, and nothing is somehow harder to handle than something. This video is about what is actually happening when someone goes silent, not what they say it is about when they eventually speak again, what it actually is psychologically, and what it is actually doing, whether the person using it knows it or not. Let us start with what the silent treatment is not. It is not the same as needing space. This distinction matters enormously, and it is where most people get confused. When someone genuinely needs space, they communicate that need. They say something like, "I need some time to process this. I will come back to you." The space is bounded. It has a communicated reason. It does not leave the other person in a state of anxious unknowing. The silent treatment is different. It is withdrawal without communication. It is the deliberate removal of normal engagement specifically because something happened. It is using your presence, or rather the removal of it, as a message, and that message is specifically designed to be felt. Psychologists categorize the silent treatment as a form of social ostracism, and that categorization matters because of what we know about ostracism in the brain. Research by Kipling-Williams at Purdue University found that social exclusion, being ignored, being shut out, activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. The same regions of the brain that process a punch to the stomach process being deliberately shut out by someone who matters to you. This is not metaphorical. The pain of the silent treatment is physically real. It is processed in the body as threat. And the specific reason it is so effective as a tool of control is precisely because it is so painful. Because here is what happens to a person receiving the silent treatment. Within hours, sometimes within minutes, they begin to do something very specific. They begin trying to figure out what they did wrong. They replay the last conversation. They search their own behavior for the offense. They move from the relatively grounded place of having said or done something they believed was reasonable to the destabilized place of wondering if they were wrong about everything. And very often, without any additional action from the silent person, the receiving person begins to apologize, to soften, to come toward, to take responsibility for something they may not have even done wrong, simply because the silence became unbearable. This is the function of the silent treatment. Not silence for its own sake, silence as leverage, silence as a mechanism for making the other person come toward you, take responsibility, and restore connection on your terms, without you having to engage, negotiate, explain, or be vulnerable. It is control without confrontation. It is power exercised through absence. Now here is the part that makes this more complicated. Not every person who goes silent is consciously choosing a manipulation tactic. Some people learn to go silent because it was the only tool available to them in an environment where direct conflict was dangerous or impossible. Some people go silent because they genuinely do not have the emotional language to express what they are feeling, and silence becomes the only container available for something they cannot yet name. Some people were never taught that silence functions as communication and genuinely do not understand the impact of what they are doing. And some people use it deliberately, with full awareness of its effect, specifically because it works. The important thing is not the intent. The important thing is the impact, because regardless of why someone goes silent, the person receiving it experiences the same thing: the destabilization, the self-questioning, the pull to come toward, apologize, restore. And if that pattern repeats, if silence becomes the recurring response to conflict or discomfort
or disagreement, it becomes a dynamic, a way of managing the relationship, a system in which one person's discomfort results in the other person's destabilization, and the relationship only returns to normal when the destabilized person has moved far enough toward the other to restore comfort. That is not a relationship dynamic that allows both people to grow. It is one that trains one person to manage the emotions of the other. Here is what the silent treatment most commonly means when you strip away everything else. It means the person using it does not yet have the tools or does not yet feel safe enough to say what they actually feel and ask for what they actually need. The silence is not really about you. It is about their inability or unwillingness to be emotionally direct. The withdrawal is not a statement about your worth. It is a statement about their capacity. This does not make it acceptable. It does not mean you should tolerate it without naming it. But it does mean you should stop trying to decode what you did wrong and start recognizing what the silence is communicating about them. The question that matters is not, what did I do to deserve this silence? The question is, what does it say about this person and this dynamic that silence is how conflict is managed here? And then, separately, a question only you can answer. Is that the dynamic you want to be in?